This month's full moon brings us a call to action, great transformation, the ending of cycles, and so much more. Know what the energy of this week brings to you so that you can better navigate this human experience. I sound like such an alien when I say that. Navigate your human experience. Oh. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the B community. A lot of you have been asking because I don't know where you've been the last few months, but you're asking now why we're the bee community instead of the baby elephant community. Now, it's not bee as in the beautiful honey bees, buzzing bees, whatever. It's BE. It's just short for baby elephant, and that's because the only constant in life is change, and it just felt like it was time for us to mature a little bit. As many of you know who have been around since the beginning, I started the channel when I was like 23, 24 years old. I'm 28 now. I'm a big girl now. It was time for a little bit of a change, and it just feels more natural to me. So B stands for baby elephant. It's also about being, just be, you know. Why are we here in this human experience? Again, we're here to be. We just are, right? Does that make sense? It made sense to me, and I like it. So, and a lot of you seem to like it as well. So, we're the bee community now, but it'll always be an homage to the baby elephant. And the icon is always going to be an elephant. So that has not changed. So I know that for a lot of you, myself included, my new moon energy predictions were so on point. If I do say so myself, toot my own horn. I noticed resistance in communication with others and my ego did kick in. But because I had this kind of backdrop, this information in the back of my mind of knowing that this was going to happen, that resistances in communication and being reactive and all this stuff would happen, rather than fight, I chose to back up. I became observant rather than reactive. I became more vulnerable. I expressed that I was feeling defensive, and rather than a war, it turned into a love fest. So it was really nice to kind of have that information in the back of my mind and knowing what potentialities the cosmos are bringing into our interpersonal communications and relationships. So because the feedback was so positive for the new moon energy reading, I decided to do this full moon energy video as well. And because of the many comments I got from people saying that they saw it just a little bit too late and they did have a fight with somebody and they wish that they saw it earlier, I decided to put this one up as early as possible. I'm trying to get it for you a few days, at least 3 days before the full moon. You should be feeling the energy of this full moon right now. So it's a good time to kind of notice what you're feeling, what's coming up for you, and you're going to see that these themes really kick in for this week. So today, the day that this video comes out, also happens to be the day after the summer solstice, which is a very positive and impactful time. So really quick, I want to talk about the summer solstice energy and its potentiality for manifestation. If you're watching this video on the 21st or really on any day of the rest of the month of June, please use this potent positive energy to manifest. The summer solstice brings with it new opportunities for setting your intentions for the rest of the year. It's a really good time to be consciously and actively manifesting. So I recommend to write down your goals for the rest of the year, to ask for things that you want, ask God, ask the universe, journal your gratitude, affirm that you already have what you're trying to receive. Right now is a very powerful and potent time to expand your vision, okay? Ask for more, shoot for higher things, for bigger things, for more abundance, for our life that's even more dreamlike. Your desires are expanded by Jupiter energy during this time. So I want you to think bigger for yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, think of mansions and private jets and all this big stuff. If that's not what you want, that's not what I want. I'm not thinking like that. It simply means to expand more aspects of yourself into wanting more for yourself, wanting more for your life, for your business, for your relationships, for whatever it is, for your health, for your love. Give yourself permission to desire those things that seem big to you. Allow yourself to desire them and allow yourself to call them in. Think bigger. You came to this planet. You're one of the lucky souls who got a body and who got to incarnate during this time. It's a really big deal. There's a lot of big cosmic energy coming in with the summer solstice right now. So ride that wave and manifest even more for yourself. This is a time to break down your self-limitations and the boundaries that you've set for yourself, the limitations that ceiling that you've created yourself. Just burst right through it. It's so gloomy outside, but it's 110 degrees. It's kind of crazy, so you might be able to see that in the lighting of this video. On that same train of thought, the night that this video goes out, the 21st, I am hosting a manifestation ceremony in honor of the big influx of cosmic energy that we are receiving on the summer solstice. It might be sold out by the time that I post this video. If it's not, a link to it down below in the description so you can grab your tickets. They usually sell out within a couple of days, so if there's more available, they will be in the link below. For future references, I do announce my ceremonies first and foremost on Instagram and to my email list. So if you want to make sure you're one of the first to grab those, because it's usually only 100 spots, then make sure you're following me on Instagram or that you're on my email list, which is the best way to hear from me. Now that we've covered the summer solstice a little bit, which I will cover more in tonight's ceremony, I want to talk about the full strawberry supermoon in Capricorn on June 24th. And the major themes that I'm feeling and picking up on that we're going to be faced with. As usual, just a heads up, I'm tapping into the energy of this time, okay? So this is kind of like a download, a channel. It does use astrological, cosmological influences, but this is not an astrology video. I will link some astrologers down below who have inspired kind of the knowings from this video, who activated them. So a supermoon is when the full moon is super close to the earth. We feel the energy of a supermoon much more intensely than, for example, the micromoon, when the moon is further away from us. So this is going to be an extremely potent and powerful supermoon. So for this full moon, you're going to feel the energy a couple of days before. Probably by now when you're watching this, you've been feeling it. And you're going to feel it for a few days after as well. I would say 3 to 4 days after. I have kind of 5 main themes that I'm feeling for this supermoon. So the first one is just heightened and intensified emotions, which I find that with most full moons, energy and emotions are intensified. I've talked about this in past videos. I've always grown up in my family. We know that around the full moon, we kind of steer clear of one another because for some reason we're just more irritated, more frustrated. And that does have to do, these days we're not so much like that anymore. In the past, it had to do with an increased need for inner work and shadow work. So if you feel really irritable around the full moon, this is a great time, and I'll talk about this in a second, to do shadow work because your triggers are more readily available. You can see yourself better. So basically what I grew up believing and what I've seen kind of a scientific backing for, really, the moon does influence the tides, and we are made of water, and there is some sort of, if not physical, then symbolic effect on our bodies from the moon being so close to us and pulling on us so intensely. In this particular full moon, we're going to see an even more intense, because not only is it a super moon, meaning it's super close to us, it's also in opposition with the sign Cancer. The sun will be in Cancer during this time, and the moon is ruled by Cancer. So it's in opposition with the sign that it feels most comfortable with. So this creates even more heightened emotions and more tension, more intensity. So what does this mean for us? It basically means, much like what we experience in the new moon, there's going to be kind of this, even more than in the new moon, of course, there's going to be this desire to kind of, this kind of irritability, heightened emotions. Things might feel a little bit overwhelming, a little bit too much, and you don't have to be affected by this as badly if you are aware. Remember that awareness is the number one step to dealing with these astrological, cosmological influences in our life, to dealing with these themes and these cycles that we go through. If we're aware of something, if we bring light to something, which a full moon tends to do, then it's a lot easier to go through. So my advice is to just be observant during this time. Do not be overly reactive. Things might test you. Take a deep breath, remove yourself from the situation in a pleasant and calm way. Return to it when you're feeling more back to yourself, when you're feeling calmer. So rather than jumping and reacting in the situation, take a breather, take a step back, return when you're feeling more level-headed. Now, as I was saying a little bit earlier, heightened and intense emotions are a perfect time for shadow work. This is so good because your triggers are just so much more in the front of your mind. They're brought to consciousness rather than hiding in the shadows, rather than hiding in your subconscious mind. Full moons are a potent time for shadow work. I have a shadow work course and I always recommend doing it on the full moon. If you're a part of light work, I really recommend revisiting it. If you've been feeling a little bit more irritable lately, if there's something that you want to work through, maybe do breath work, journal, really be with your emotions, let yourself feel these emotions, don't run away from them. Your triggers are coming up for you to notice them and for you to be able to work with them. So a lot of people, when they're talking about, it's a lot of fear mongering where it's like, things are going to be really intense. It's a little scary. You're going to feel overwhelmed, blah, blah, blah. But in my perspective, it's just an opportunity. It's an opportunity for more healing, for deeper understanding of self, understanding of self. So kind of take advantage of that. There's a lot of benefits to that. Observe what stirs you, what's moving you on the inside in a good or bad way. Decide whether there's a trait or a thought pattern or a habit or a behavior that no longer serves you, and then work through it. The second theme that I'm picking up on is there's going to be a revealing of some sort of truth. So this week is going to reveal something to you, and right around the full moon, as it often does, but especially with this super moon, the moon's energy will shine a light on something that you have not been willing to look at. Something that you have not seen before, either willfully ignorant to it, blissfully ignorant from it. Whatever it is, you will no longer be able to look away from this thing that's going to come up, and you're going to see it clearly now. There's something that you really have to look at, and it's going to reveal itself to you during this time. The third theme that I'm picking up on is something that happens every month with the full moon, of course, which that is completion, something coming into wholeness, fullness, perhaps the ending of some sort of cycle in your life, something that you may have started during the new moon or before the new moon coming to an end. Something that started on a previous new moon, even from 6 months ago, coming to an end now. If you are into astrology, if you see where the full moon is in your chart, you can better tell in what area of your life this completion, this coming into fullness is going to happen, whether it's in a relationship, something to do with work, something to do with family, something to do with a project, some sort of inner work, whatever it is, something is coming to completion during this time. There's an energy of something perhaps coming to an end. And this not being such a bad thing. Perhaps it is propelling us for something new. If we're brave enough to say goodbye to this thing, something new might be coming in. The next theme that I picked up on, did I say 4 or 5? Yeah, so this is the fourth. It's having a bigger picture in mind for what you want for yourself in the future. And this has to do with Jupiter energy. It has to do with that summer solstice energy that I talked about in the beginning of this video. Right now with all this Jupiter energy, it's a time to just think bigger for yourself, because Jupiter brings with it expansion to whatever it touches, right? Have you been perhaps a little bit complacent in your life? Have you maybe kind of kicked your feet up and you're like, well, here I am. That's all there is to it. I believe that it's time to think bigger in one way or another. Perhaps you started working on something new and you're thinking too small. This is a time to re-envision what this is going to look like. Re-envision your future. Re-envision what your life is going to look like. And it doesn't have to be like riches and grandeur. It doesn't have to be like that. It's whatever that means to you. What does bigger mean to you? Does it mean more comfort? Does it mean more family? Does it mean, more self-acceptance? Just having a bigger and bolder vision for yourself. So kind of becoming aware of that and noticing what this potentiality, what this energy brings into your life, and noticing what thoughts you have around this time. What dreams do you have during this full moon that have to do with thinking bigger, wanting more things, wanting bigger things, wanting more for yourself, wanting more for others in your life. I'm curious, when I talk about this, about thinking bigger, envisioning bigger, what does this look like for you? I'd love to hear about that in the comments, because that would help me, and it would help a lot of other people who are not really understanding where in their lives that they could think bigger. Like for myself, for example, I'm trying to think about what I could re-envision, and I think that in my business, I could be thinking bigger. I think that in my social life, perhaps I could be thinking bigger. I'm actually thinking about working. I have a bunch of new ideas. Of course, it's a Leo moon when I record this particular video, and all day long I've had all these ideas, and I want to jump into action. And I'm thinking that this is a really good time to rethink these desires that I have, and maybe even think bigger about them. I'm thinking about doing some sort of in-person event towards the end of the year if everything goes well, and maybe I can think even bigger. I want to re-envision my life, and I want to see how much more I can push this physical human experience. How much more can I manifest for myself? It's all fun. It's really, really fun, and you should have fun with this. The last theme that I'm picking up on is this intensified need or desire for freedom. There's a possibility that we're going to become more aware of shackles that we had around our feet and around our hands that we may not have noticed there before. And that could be on a big societal level, or it could be on a personal level. Perhaps being shackled to a job, or to a person, or to a relationship, or shackled to the way that we think about ourselves, and we might become more aware of it during this time and decide that we want more freedom. We're going to have an opportunity to break through these shackles during this time, to reevaluate what we want for ourselves, and to see more clearly, because we have all this truth coming out, all this light coming in, completion coming in, new cycles starting, old cycles ending. There's potentialities for big transformation here. So noticing kind of what controls us and what's been holding us back, and breaking through these things. So these are the 5 things that I'm picking up on in the collective, in the energy that is related to the cosmos, to the astral realms, to everything that's going on an energetic micro and macro level. If this resonated, please let me know in the comments below. How are you feeling? What does it mean for you to have a bigger vision for your future? I want to know in the comments below. If you like these videos, if you like these energetic updates, please give this video a thumbs up. The reason why I did this one is because there was so much positive feedback on the new moon one. So your comments and your likes really, really affect the content of this channel. I'm listening to you. I care. I love you. Thank you for spending some time with me. And until next time, take it easy this week. This full moon is an intense one. I love you so much, and keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye.